In this episode, we talk about success.
It's not just what you achieve, people. It's who you become. I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We're partners in love, life, and music. And we've been together since 2001.
With each episode of this podcast, our goal is to help our fellow LGBT community members lift their lives to the next level. Woohoo, I'm so excited to have Stu later tonight.
You are just like, I barely had my ears on.
Barely put your headphones on, but now you have them on.
Toast is raring to go.
And this episode is off to the races. Hello, everybody. This is Toast.
And this is Sienna.
And we have a fun review to review from our iTunes podcast listing, right?
We do.
From live from New Mexico.
Right. Okay. So notes and reviews from the community. Here we go. All right. So this one, the title of the review is McKenna Fan Rejuvenated. And also...
And for sidebar, this comment really quick, because people are like, McKenna Fan. So
I know, I was
Sienna
bring that
and
up,
I,
yeah.
So to explain, Sienna and I do music together. And years and years ago, we used to call our musical duo McKenna, which is a Hawaiian word that is translated literally as meaning abundance or plenty of something. So that's what they're referring to.
Yes. Okay. So title, McKenna Fan Rejuvenated. And this is a 5-star review.
Thank you.
By Live from New Mexico. I'm so grateful to hear Sienna and Toast again. I was an avid listener of their previous podcast and jumped at the opportunity to download their latest episodes. I can't describe how influential their previous podcast was to me as a baby gay. Oh, a baby gay. So happy to tune in to the new take on their journey together as musicians and partners. They address issues that matter to them and our community. This new podcast is sweet, informative, and inspiring. Sienna and Toast are gems in my book. Aw, Live from New Mexico. That's so sweet.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we actually follow each other. I discovered that Live from New Mexico, we follow each other. She has a different handle on Instagram, but she has the cutest cats.
Well, that's why we follow each other then.
Argo and Pumpkin.
Oh my gosh, those are cute names.
Cute names,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Argo and Pumpkin. And I have to say that Live from New Mexico is living the life. She's been all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So that is how to live.
Very cool.
So thank you so much for leaving a review. And message me. Feel free to message me, because Toast and I would love to give you a little gift in the mail if you are interested.
And they know how to find us on Instagram, right? Like,
Yeah, you can
follow each
message.
other.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So anyone who's left a review where we've read it on the podcast can either email us. You can go to our website, siennaandtoast.com, and contact us from there. You can message us on Instagram if we're friends. And then let us know. And then, because some people don't want anything. They're like,
Right.
No, I just want to leave the review. I have too much stuff, or what, I don't know, whatever. Me, I'd want the free thing, That's just me.
So thank you again, and we really appreciate it.
Because what is it about swag?
It's free stuff.
I know, but sometimes it's so silly. I mean, okay, don't worry. We're not giving you like a pen or something like that. But it's like when there is swag, even though a pen is very useful.
Exactly.
It is
I was
very
just going to
useful.
say, yeah.
But some people, like I don't know, maybe it's not such a common thing where you and I have gone to a lot of like product conventions and things where there is a lot of swag and free stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like even stuff you don't.
Like a lanyard.
Like you're not going to use it, but then you're like, oh, because it's free. It's like, I got to put it in my bag.
I think, yeah.
What is that? That's
so.
crazy. Are we hoarders really? Like, what is that?
We're all hoarders at heart.
Yeah. Because I gotta say,
we are sending useful things.
We are, but
we are sending useful things.
That's why it's just bringing up this idea of like free stuff on that other level of like swag, and it's like, but I love swag, so it's like, but why I end up bringing it all home, and then it's like, It sits.
It goes in the recycle bin.
Right. I mean, what is that? What is that?
But nevertheless,
Toast?
I don't know.
Why do we love free stuff?
It has to do with our society, I'm
my
sure.
gosh.
Okay. So again,
Anyways.
thank you for the review. We welcome all reviews at the link for our podcast on iTunes, which is where you're probably listening to this, I guess. I know we're on Stitcher and Spotify and stuff too, but
YouTube.
if you would leave a review for this podcast on iTunes, we greatly appreciate it. Just like I am going to greatly appreciate our stew tonight.
I know, you keep talking. Toast, okay.
Well, I enjoy.
She gets so happy if I'm going to cook. Like,
if we're cooking together too.
I know, but I'm not such a together cooker, you know.
I'm your sous chef.
why-
I'm your prep cook. I'll chop things. I'll chop the garlic
Sometimes.
for you, right? And I'll clean up. So I'm like the support contingent for your master chefery.
Okay, so tonight we are
Doing
what isn't this food
Stew.
for the soul?
food for the soul.
Isn't
What is the
food
iPhone
for the
sound for this?
soul? Okay, I think minuet.
Okay,
Here we go.
Let's do it.
This segment is called Food for the Soul. I don't know, you
That
guys.
does sound
I
kind
hope
of
that
like
doesn't irritate
exciting
you all.
in a
You
food
know,
way.
It's pretty novel for me. I get to pick all these different things, whatever. I don't know.
And you get to do it again when we're done with the segment.
Oh, okay. Let me keep it around. Okay.
This is a stew that Sienna has been making for
Oh my gosh.
years and
you know
years.
what? I have been making this stew from the time Toast and I used to eat meat, which was a very long time ago. And then I revamped the recipe to make it without meat. So that was a very long time ago.
And
but
I remember probably the first time that you made it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was doing you a favor by
I know what you did.
By stirring it. I
stirred it.
stirred the pot.
yeah.
I thought, oh, I better mix
Literally.
this up. I better mix this up.
Literally.
And then I found out from Sienna that you're
supposed to
not
stir
supposed to
it.
do that
Okay.
for this recipe.
So this amazing stew. Now I know. Okay, so so Portland, where we
Where we
are,
live.
has gotten a little bit cooler. In fact, some days have felt like, hey, fall is really coming upon us a little early.
Okay.
It's felt like that. So I know in most places, if you're listening to this relatively soon, it's scorching. I know it's scorching for a lot of people, so stew probably sounds like the furthest thing you'd be interested in. But what I will say is that, it's so nourishing and comforting and pretty darn healthy, I must say. You know, probably the healthier thing would be to just eat those vegetables raw. But it's very nourishing.
And this is an interesting, it's not
This
pure stew because it's kind of a cross between a stew and a soup.
It is. Now, I could make it more of a stew by thickening it to make it more like thicker, you know, like a stew.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But, and I've done that a few times, but it's not necessary.
We have our red potatoes ready to go. We have our onion. We have our garlic. We have our kale.
We have our kale. We can put some kale in there. But the great thing about this stew is that, as Toast mentioned, you layer all of the ingredients. So one of the first things you do is you saute your onions. And then when those are clear, then you put in the garlic, because garlic tends to burn. And if garlic is burnt, everything will taste burnt. So you want to be really careful with that. Then you put in your tomatoes. And that you can stir. So you can stir the tomatoes with the onions and the garlic. And you add a little bit of water. And you let that simmer for a little while. Okay. Then what you do, I'm doing this all from memory. So I'm just because we've made it so many times. So meanwhile, while the tomatoes are getting all acquainted with the onions and the garlic, you're going to chop up your veggies. So
I'm going to chop up your veggies.
Toast is going to chop up my veggies, and she's going to be chopping up celery, carrots, and she's also going to be chopping red potatoes. So with the celery and the carrots. She's going to chop them probably around the same size so they cook pretty evenly. And then she's going to, well, the red potatoes are organic, so we don't need to skin those. But chop up the potatoes, and then we are going to soak them a little bit in cold water. It takes out a little bit of the starch, doesn't make it so starchy. You really have to do that with russet. But for the red, you don't really need to, even though I still do. And then after the tomatoes saute, then you are going to put in your veggies in layers. So you're going to put in your carrots, you're going to put in your celery, then you're going to put the potatoes.
And you do all of this without stirring.
You do all of this without stirring. Then you're going to pour in some vegetable broth of your choice. It could be any kind of vegetable broth. You're going to pour that in to where your top layer of veggies, so it's probably going to be your potatoes, you're going to pour that until it slightly covers the potatoes. And then you just simmer that for like ever. And then you do not stir it. That's why it's on a simmer. So it's not going to burn. Keep it on a simmer. And then you're going to add...
Covered?
Like slightly covered.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Then you're going to add a small handful of Hawaiian salt. And that really is your secret ingredient. You're going to add your Hawaiian salt and you're going to put fresh cracked pepper. And then after about 45 minutes or so, then you can stir.
And people are wondering, where is the meat in this?
There's no meat. It's a veggie stew.
Okay, but are we adding any kind of sausage, like meat replacement tonight?
Do we have any?
Are we doing that?
Do we have any?
We have, yes, we have tofurkey sausage.
Do you want to have that in there tonight?
Not necessary, because maybe those could go well with the rest of the red potatoes, which I plan on baking later in the week.
Okay. Well, the great thing about this no-stir stew, that's what we call it, no-stir stew, is that it's so versatile. Especially if you just have this veggie component, you can do all kinds of things. So if we wanted to add the veggie sausage, what I would suggest is while the stew is cooking, slice your veggie sausages on the side and fry them so that they have a nice color to them. And then you can throw them in at the last minute.
Okay.
You could cook it while everything is cooking and you might get some of that flavor blended in. But then it really overcooks those things because a lot of the
it breaks apart.
Vegan sausages, you don't have to cook them long.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't love just throwing them in there. Okay. Although it's easy. It's easier. Just throw them in there. But ideally you want to fry them, brown them so that they look really cute. And then you throw them in later. And then Toast mentioned we have kale. So for the kale component, we will clean the kale, cut them up in bite-sized pieces. And then towards the end of the cooking, we will throw that in there.
Okay.
Then there's a secret ingredient. Should I tell them the secret? This is like my secret ingredient.
I know what it is.
Should I tell them?
I had forgotten about the kale, but now when you say secret ingredient, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well,
I think you should tell them.
It's my secret. Okay. So everyone who has eaten this stew,
they're special.
They're
special.
Don't. I have to say,
the listeners are special. They deserve to know.
Okay. So this is the secret ingredient. I have never told it. No one knows this.
Yet.
Okay, I'm going to tell you all. The secret ingredient is Dijon mustard.
And that's it.
Grey Poupon, to be exact.
And just a little bit, right?
But I'm not a mustard person at all.
Right.
Like, I do not eat mustard. I don't eat Grey Poupon.
I don't even eat mustard
yellow.
on hot dogs.
No.
When I have a hot dog,
no,
I want everything. I want the chopped
veggie
up
hot dog.
Veggie hot dog.
Yeah.
I want the chopped up onions. I want the ketchup.
Yeah, no.
I want the mustard,
relish.
man. I want the relish. I want the relish.
I don't want
like loaded
onions
up,
near my
people.
hot dog. No. So I'm not even a mustard person, but something about this type of mustard stirred into the stew at the very end.
At the very end, okay.
Add something, people. So that's my hint to you all. I have never shared that. I feel a little,
You feel a little exposed.
I do, because that's been my thing.
That's been your secret weapon.
But anyways, yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed our
Food for the soul.
All right, just entertain me, people.
All right.
Okay.
Oh man, now I'm hungry. Okay.
Okay, so I don't even know what we're talking about. I forgot.
Oh yes.
What are we
okay.
talking about?
Wake me up.
I know what we're
What are
talking
we
about.
talking about?
Okay, I know what we're talking about. We are talking today about
It's who you become.
in the process of life. Yes.
It's who you become before you become the next thing that you become.
Right.
Because we're
Explain it.
always becoming.
We are.
We just thought first of all, Sienna and I realized that one of the previous podcast episodes we talked about where we're saying about LGBT relationship buttons that we keep having the same argument over and over. It's the same argument. We realize that's not exactly true.
It's not, no.
Or it can be misleading to phrase it in that way, because the reason it's not exactly the same argument is because we're always growing, we're always changing, and as long as we try to be as conscious as we can, try to have as much awareness as we can, the similar arguments will lead us on to the next stage of our becoming, the next stage of our awareness, the next set of insights. And sure, we may have another argument about the same thing, about the same topic, or that's triggered by the similar set of wounds that we also talk about in another episode. But, as long as we're doing the work of trying to be conscious about things, each argument that may seem like the same is actually leading us on to the next best version of ourselves and the next best version of our relationship.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes. Yes. It is a natural thing.
Yeah.
This becoming is a natural thing. It just is.
Yeah, and thank God, because, hey, full transparency here. When you and I, Sienna and I, used to have arguments towards the beginning of our relationship, and you compare the arguments that we have now, they're about the same or similar things, right? They're triggered by the same things.
Right.
But
it's night and day.
But we're not walking on eggshells for the next 4 to 5 days about the argument that we had. No, when we've had arguments in the more recent past, it's like, it's calmer. Mm-hmm.
We know how to give each other the space.
Right, in a more productive way, in a more loving way. We have more acceptance for the other person and ourselves. So thank God it's not the exact same argument.
Very true.
Yes. So
true.
So it's not like you don't have to necessarily go in a whirlpool circle where you're just stuck in the same place. No, it's more like an upward spiral. You're getting somewhere.
And I think it's important to know that, to realize that, so that you don't fall prey to the lie that you're just stuck and you're not getting anywhere.
Because you are getting somewhere.
Not working.
You are getting somewhere.
You are always, it's just natural.
You are growing.
It's an upward spiral of becoming. And so it's really important to remember that. But also, in addition to remembering that piece, it's also important to remember that there is a part of ourselves that wants to move forward. All of us can identify.
Evolve, right?
Yes, all of us can identify with that. Yeah. We all have these interpersonal goals, these spiritual goals. We also have more material goals and aspirations. So all of this is part of our becoming. It's part of our desire to move forward. So there is absolutely a part of ourselves that wants to move forward. I think where we get tripped up is not recognizing that there is also a part of ourselves that want to hold us back. And that part of ourselves is really, what we're really talking about here is the old paradigms, the old belief systems, the old things that we've believed in that can come from maybe how we were raised, maybe other voices, maybe it's parental voices. But generally, we form these paradigms and belief systems very early on.
Yes.
So that part of ourselves that wants to hold us back, that's also very natural because it's just the old framework that we are still living in, but want to break out of and move ahead, which requires building new paradigms after dismantling these old ones that are trying to hold us back. So I think really understanding those two parts of ourselves helps, because I know for me, I have really been judgmental of myself and have condemned myself for like not doing something that would help move me towards, move me in the direction that I want to go in. And if I haven't done that thing, it's like, I'm like, oh, why am I'm just lazy. Oh, just come on, Sienna, get it together. You know, why aren't you doing it? But we can have more compassion with ourselves by realizing that, okay, you know what? That's my old paradigm. That's my old set of beliefs. That's the part that wants to hold me back. You know what? I acknowledge you. You were there for a reason at one time in my life, but I want to create a new belief system around here, and I want to move forward. So therefore, I'm going to choose this other thing. So just to realize how those two work together.
Yeah, and there's a strange sort of comfort in realizing that those two parts of ourselves, those two aspects of wanting to be called forward, but feeling like that, what do you call it? The part that wants to hold you back. Those two opposing forces is just another expression of the duality that we exist in as human beings, right? Same thing, like there's masculine energies, there's feminine energies, and they're both just energies, but they feel different. I feel like the opposing forces that we sense within us, right? The ones, the force that's calling us forward with our visions and our dreams, and that knowing, there's a knowing in us that there's something more for us to do, to be.
Yep.
And then there's the opposing force that resists that.
Yes.
And that's just an expression of the duality that we live in.
That's great. I like that. That's a good one.
And I think all of this speaks to basically a definition of success. Because in our society, we don't take care to define that term success very often. And it really helps to remind ourselves, I try to remind myself that, you know, what I consider success is to be a combination of, on one hand, becoming a better person, developing my spirituality, developing clarity of thought. It's all these, what could be described as invisible things. It's who you become on the inside, the faith development, that component. But at the same time, success also includes the visible component, the achieving, the works, right?
Yeah.
Faith without works is dead, is a saying from the New Testament. And it's that teaching that acknowledges, hey, again, we live in a universe of duality. So you have the invisible and you have the visible that are both part of the same thing, and success is developing both of those things. So it's not just sitting in a room and having good intentions and sitting in a room and being peaceful. But it's also not just making a lot of money and building a great business that's so profitable, and just expanding the number of houses you have. It's both
if you want it,
that works together.
Yeah Absolutely. And I think that's the most fulfilling feeling.
So true.
you know?
So true.
When you feel how some kind of your work, your achievement has grown you as a human and spiritual being.
Exactly.
How has that grown me?
Yes, it's
And
all
yet,
the same thing.
to have achieved that outward success with something.
Right.
And you've grown. I mean, that is fulfilling.
Yes.
You know?
And I guess another way that we talk about this concept is that saying about joy is not at the end of the journey. It's all along the way. It's about, are you focused on the end result or are you focused on the means? Well, let's try and do both.
Yeah.
Right? It's not all about in the process. It's not all about what is the result. It's everything.
Yes.
So enjoy making the stew. And then enjoy eating the stew.
Right.
And then enjoy the fact that the stew is there and it smells so good.
Right. That's why I have an alarm on my phone, my iPhone, where I have all these emojis that I like, and it goes off every morning at 7 a.m. Wait, is it an alarm? I think it's, what is it?
Or
it's
is it
an
a
event.
calendar? Is
It's
it a
an
calendar?
event.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the calendar as an event. And what it says is strive satisfied. I have that in there because I feel like I can tend to lose sight of enjoying the process and recognizing and having the awareness of who I am, how I'm growing as I'm striving. Because I think that a lot of the tendency with how society supports us, because it definitely supports us in this way, is to strive, strive, strive. You're going to feel great when you get here, right?
Yeah,
But if you can cultivate your awareness and your consciousness and who you are and your spirituality in feeling great now, as you are striving,
Yes.
then when you do achieve that thing, oh my gosh, how you feel is going to be, you're going to just add to the greatness you've already been cultivating.
Yeah.
You know?
I think as you're describing that, I feel like how beautiful to live a life where the striving or the work, right, the actions that you take are just a natural overflow
Yes.
of what you feel within,
Yes.
right? Where it's not like there's no desperation about it. You're not trying to, there's no ulterior motive, I guess. There's no ulterior motive. One way to put it.
Yeah. But I will, since I mentioned my iPhone and the calendar event, I find that to be such a great way to remind me.
To remind yourself.
To remind myself, So I have several that go off from 6:30 all the way to maybe 10 a.m. I have a bunch of things to help support the work that I do in the morning. And I know you have some of that too. I don't think you do it as an event though, right? What's your tip?
I
Or you
use
have
alarms.
an alarm.
Yeah.
You have
I
an
use
alarm
alarms.
that says, hey, this or whatever. Remember your affirmations or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because we need those. We need those things. But Toast, why don't you share, because I think that our listeners would love to know your story about just the recent thing that you've been really embracing.
Yes. Okay.
With, I think, we'll go over time, but that's okay. We've been just doing whatever.
We're doing whatever, man. So, very recently, Sienna encouraged me to actually get a grip and just relax a little bit. because
you were stressing me out.
Yeah. So I was stressing her out, but I was also stressing myself out, and it had just
and that's
really,
what I want people to hear. I want them to hear the story.
Yeah. So it had really gotten to a point where I was used to being stressed out, and I almost took pride in it. And I maybe wouldn't have described it at the time as being, hey, I'm stressed out. I would probably have described it as being, hey, I'm getting shit done.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I was stressed out. And I took solace in like, hey, but look what I did.
Yeah.
Look how I came through. And I think that's a combination of giving in to the societal pressure of, hey, we're going to value you based on what you get done.
Yeah.
How
What you get
useful
done,
are
what you achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you point to say, hey, look, I did that. And that's the default position of the society we live in. But it's also an expression of the masculine energy that I feel more aligned with naturally, right? It's like, yeah, I do want to get stuff done. Yes, I love getting stuff done. Let me at it. I'm going to keep going, and I'm tired, but hey, tired's for wimps, man. I'm going to keep going. And hey, pat myself on the back when I get it done because look, I powered through, right? So that was the mode I was very much used to being in and sucking getting my self-worth out of. Look how much I got done.
But you didn't feel good. And I think that's important to pay attention to, which you did.
And the type of feeling good that I did pay attention to was all centered on achievement.
Yes.
Instead of centered on, hey, you know what?
Who you become.
Yes,
yourself.
Exactly.
How are you feeling? What is this? Yeah.
And how much of a whole person am I? Do I also have the feminine integrated with the masculine? And once I did take a step back and just will myself to just stop working already. And it was a challenge. I had to call on my will to stop myself from go.
Yeah.
I had to say, nope.
Yeah.
I am going to just sit and read a book.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out my foam roller and just give myself a massage. I'm going to take a little extra time and read a little more than I would normally.
Yep.
I'm going to journal. And get a little more introspective about why do I feel this need?
Right.
This compulsion to go and do.
And I've also heard you say a few times actually this year, I'm going to go take a tub bath.
Yes.
Which, man, people in the past, Toast might have taken a tub bath maybe once a year. Maybe
Less,
once
I
every
think.
2 years.
Yeah. I've taken 3 recently, I think. And after forcing myself to relax.
Yes.
And get more in touch with a relationship with the divine.
The becoming.
Instead of, You're
becoming.
Yes. Get into a relationship with the becoming. I know that I realized, wow, I was really stressed out there, number one. And I also know that the relationship you and I have has felt more relaxed.
Yeah.
We've been more connected. There's been this sense of spaciousness and graciousness to our communicating in our relationship that has been so wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep going with this more balanced.
Keep going with the non-going.
I'm going to keep going with the non-going of balancing the feminine and the masculine.
And I think your story is so good because at first it wasn't easy, right?
Right.
Because you're changing something that feels so natural because you've been doing it for so long.
And to be honest, I don't anticipate, I know that I am on alert for slipping back in.
Yes.
Because, hey, that's the society we live in.
Right. All the messages are to achieve. Do.
Right.
How much did you do? Yeah.
Right. So I'm very much on alert, and I feel like I'm on a quest to
Deepen
maintain that
groove
connection, to maintain the
in your
connection with the
brain.
divine, maintain the connection and relationship with the eternal transcendent aspect, because that has been my lifeline. And I feel that is going to keep me more aligned with what feels true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's always me. I can say,
You'll be
go
like,
read a book already.
yeah.
Read a book.
Hey, yeah. Crack the whip. To stop it already. Yeah.
All right. I think that was a good story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, guys, thanks for listening once again, and as always. And if you feel like you're resonating with what we're saying, please share it. Please share it on social media or share it in the flesh and bone. You know, like with your mouth, talking to somebody instead of with your thumbs. Anyway, just a thought. We really appreciate it.
Flesh and
You can
bone.
also...
Sounds so severe.
It sounds so meaty and... Yeah.
You're just hungry.
Oh, that stew is waiting. Okay. So you can sign up to get our emails. We put all the links in the show notes. Check it out, please. And thank you. And until next time,
This is Sienna.
and this is Toast telling you to love life, to live free.